And Jeffrey, obviously, when you start a startup like this, you've got to have money, you know, and let's talk about how you raise money if you don't have resources yourself and how that plays into this whole equation.
Well, surprisingly, you don't often need as much money as one might think you need. The average capitalization of a startup business in the U.S. is about $10,000 bucks.
Really?
And you know, there's this notion that you have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to open a business. It's just not true. Most start with a fairly modest amount of money. That money is typically going to come from you, from your family, and from your friends. That's the most common source of funding. About 85 to 90% of all funding for startups comes from those sources. Then beyond that, as you start to have success, you'll be able to start to get some money from bankers, from investors. But typically, they're not going to invest in you until they see that you have some success and something that's actually working.
Do you have some examples of somebody that we might be surprised that started out with something like a $5,000 or $10,000 and grew it into something that you could share?
Anybody who's probably ever been an entrepreneur or a student is familiar with a company called Kinko's. And Kinko's was started with about $2,000. And he sold it for, I think, somewhere around $10 billion to FedEx.
Why did Kinko's work?
Kinko's worked because their founder did a wonderful job of listening to the market. And he went in with a certain notion of what his business was going to be, basically helping college students with copying and supplies for classes and things like that. And as people came in and wanted things, he responded to that and provided that for them. And over time, he started to get a rhythm in his business that he was able to replicate and grow.